we're actually going to do it now. It's the Coruscant Planet review. I haven't played this character in so long, like 2 months. It must have been since I actually last played this. This is going to be going off very old memories, but I'm going to do it anyway. I kind of have to now. I've locked myself in. So, story quest. This planet sets up literally everything for the entirety of Act 1 of the story. We meet the final bosses of every single planet we're going to do in Act 1, bar Terrace. So the way they did it is it tells you a lot about what the Sith are about. I feel about the entirety of their how they deceive and do whatever it is that they do to be able to get the advantage. And the way we found that in this story in Coruscant is our friend Dr. Tarnis, and he infiltrated the Republic super weapons division. He stole the designs for the planet prison, for everything. He deceived the scientists, and then he almost, almost, if we didn't stop him, held the entire planet hostage, which would have been bad. So it's a very good job that me and Kira were able to stop him. But that's essentially what this entire planet is about, is setting up everything to come in Act 1. And I think it does it very well. We get just a bare glimpse at the end of who we're going to be dealing with. Darth Angel and the others, they also have names. But yeah, as far as a way of setting up what is to come, it is strong. We don't get too much information about what it is we're going to be doing and what's going to be happening, but it gives us enough to feel a little sense of dread, I think, at the prospects of our future. Um, Aside from that, not much else actually happens in the main story, as what I can recall. So, I guess we'll move on to side quests. There is definitely a main theme of most of the side quests, apart from our standard MMO side quests of when you're in the area, just go and kill some of this, go and fetch some of that. Those are always going to be there, but the general theme of the side quests that we had is that it's the struggle of rebuilding after the sacking of Coruscant. We see it in the first one when we went to the Migrant Merchants Guild, and we found out that the senator for Coruscant was working with them. She was taking their funds in order to fund her campaign, and we had to make a choice of, was it the right thing to do? Ultimately, we decided that while it was unethical and possibly illegal, it was in the best interests of the people, of the planet, of the capital. And it's those kinds of choices, I think, which makes the player think and makes the player try and understand what is happening in this sci-fi fictional world. And I really like it. I really do. Well, the quests are just the same as any other quest. Go and kill 10 of these, go and interact with this amount of objects. The way they do, cutscenes and dialogue in this game is so unique, and I really, really like it. And it certainly made me think at the time of, should we let the senator get away with this? And we did. We let her get away with it because she putting the people first, no matter what, because she cared about what she was doing and what she was doing for these people. That was an excellent side quest. And the rest of it was focusing on the Gree and helping the Gree rebuild all of Coruscant's infrastructure. which I enjoyed because it certainly gives you a sense of scale as to how big a job looking after Coruscant's infrastructure can be. Granted, we fixed most of it ourselves, but the works especially was is a massive, massive area, and certainly gives a good scale on how much of a job it can be. And thinking about that, and thinking of how little we actually take care of our own infrastructure on this planet is it's actually abysmal, to be honest. We really need to do a better job. If we could do half the stuff we need to do to repair the infrastructure on Coruscant, I think we'd be in a much better place. But that's that's a topic of discussion for another place, I feel. I'm trying to rack my brain and think of anything else that we did on the side. Justicars. There was one I said about that story that I read once. Yeah, the Justicars are a tricky bunch. It's essentially what happens when gangs take over, right? So the Justicars, they were fed up of having gangs taking control of their area, and they were not waiting on Coruscant security to get it done with themselves, so they took matters into their own hands, and it wasn't better. And I feel like it resonates with certainly some parts of this world anyway. Look at me getting all sentimental and brooding about all this kind of stuff. This is supposed to be a happy Coruscant review. I think that's mostly it for the side missions. These heroics that we're doing up on in the background here is just all general stuff. Nothing too meaningful in those. So, environment. I don't like it. I said it in one of the episodes, I can't remember which one. It's such an iconic area, or such an iconic planet, especially from the prequel trilogy, which is what I grew up on. And I I get it. I like it, but I don't love it. The way they've done it is you take your speeder to the area, but when you're in the area, it's so enclosed. I don't feel like I'm in a giant city. I just feel like I'm in a metal box. And I don't like that. The best area on this planet, and this is its saving grace, is when you're outside the Senate Tower, outside the spaceport, and you can look out off the edge and just see the cityscape in the background, is an absolutely beautiful backdrop. And I mentioned like this, you get the speeders in the sky and the shadows stretching onto the buildings, and that is gorgeous. That really is. But then it gets entirely let down by everything else, and it annoys me because I think it has so much more potential of what it could be and what this environment could be like when you look up and you just have buildings, high-rise buildings on either side, and you're in your alleyway, and there's people coming in and out. And I get that this is a game from 2011, 2012. Maybe they didn't have that technology where they could have all these NPCs moving around in the way that I'm describing, but I'm in the area. I'm in my metal box, and it feels empty. It doesn't feel like I'm in a giant cityscape, a giant city, which is the whole planet should be just full, but I don't feel that. It's a real shame. It's a real shame. And the other problem is that there's not much variety between areas, and I get that that kind of might not even make sense as a criticism, because I just said, and I said several times and repeating myself, that the entire planet is a city. Of course it's all going to be, like a city, but I don't know. It just doesn't resonate with me at all, which is a shame, especially as it's such a major planet that I grew up with on Star Wars as well. But I digress. It has its moments. It certainly does. But comparing it to Tython, it's not as good. And comparing it to Drum and Cass as well on the Imperial side, Drum and Cass is just margins above. It really is. Drum and Cass is a very nice environment compared to this, which is a shame. But not a lot I can think of or do to change that. So that was a very brief. I say brief. I think it's about the same length as the Tython one. But as far as everything putting together, I think, for me anyway, the side quests have had much more of an impact on me than the actual story. Like, we could have done only the ending of the Jedi Knight story on this planet and still came out with the same amount of information as we did by doing everything. So I think certainly for the main story, for the main class story, I think a lot of wasted potential in the early stages anyway. And then the side quests, top notch. So I think I'm going to change the way I'm doing this. A lot of stuff has come up at work and studying, and I don't really have a lot of time to play this character anymore, which is a shame because I really want to, because I really enjoy this game. But what I'm going to do instead, I'm not going to record any more of Verigil. I may stream it sometimes, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to play through a planet and then only do reviews from now on. So I can play through it at my own pace. I'll jot some notes down, which I should have done for this planet, let's be honest. And then only do the reviews for each one, where I go into much more detail about the stories and the side and environment. And it takes pressure off me for recording, but still getting that experience and still conveying that experience through just in smaller chunks in these review videos. So that's how it's going to that's how it's going to happen from now on. And I'm going to do some other stuff as well, much more like information kind of videos about the future of this game. I think I would like to do, especially with Onslaught coming out later this year. That's something that I really want to work on and really do right as well. So that will do for now. This is so overdue. Oh, I really am the worst, aren't I? So I'm gonna edit this. I say edit, I'm just gonna put it in Wondershare and just let it be. I can't really do anything about it. I've rambled for way too long. Right, shut up. I'm leaving. See ya.